Okay, be honest. You're checking your phone right now, aren't you?
Or thinking about it.
Exactly. Maybe you just glanced at a notification that popped up.
Yeah.
Or you're, fighting that urge to just pick it up for a second because that little red bubble is demanding your attention.
Well, welcome to the modern knowledge economy. We are all, and I mean all of us, addicted to input.
And that addiction is costing us a lot.
It's costing us massive amounts of career and creative capital. It really is.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Today we are doing a deep dive into a concept that, once you really get it, can totally change your career. It's called deep work.
And it's not just another time management hack. The sources we're looking at call it the indispensable superpower of the 21st century worker.
A superpower, I like that.
And our mission today is, I think, pretty critical. We want to find the shortcut, the way to generate real, lasting value in a world that is just engineered for distraction.
And the framing for this is all about economics, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The world doesn't pay you for how many hours you work or, how fast you answer a Slack message. The economy pays for the rarity and the value of what you produce, period.
Once you internalize that idea value versus just being busy, you realize the crisis we're in.
It's a crisis of focus.
Yeah, and it's staggering. We pulled some research on this, and the numbers are, well, they're kind of shocking. The average knowledge worker is interrupted every 11 minutes.
11 minutes. Now pair that with a really devastating statistic.
Okay.
Once you've been pulled away from a hard task,
Yeah.
by an email, a chat, whatever, it takes your brain about 20 minutes to get back into that deep, productive flow state.
20-minute, wait, let's just sit with that. If you're interrupted every 11 minutes, but it takes you 20 minutes to recover,
The math doesn't work.
the math doesn't work. It means that most people, for their entire workday, are never actually doing real high-value work. They're just managing interruptions.
It's constant cognitive whiplash. And that is the dividing line. It's what separates people who are always busy from the people who are actually productive.
So to fix it, we have to understand what we're fighting for. We need to really define the two sides of this coin.
Let's do it.
Okay, so deep work. What are we talking about here? We're talking about the ability to focus without distraction on one single hard thing.
Something that pushes your skills and creates new value. You can think of it as, intellectual heavy lifting.
Right. And the opposite of that is shallow work.
Exactly. Shallow work is all the logistical stuff. Answering routine emails, scheduling meetings, filing a report, things you can do while you're distracted.
They keep the lights on.
They keep the lights on, but they don't move the needle. Shallow work isn't going to write the book or create the breakthrough strategy.
And that's where the economic reality really hits. Because deep work is hard.
It's very hard. It's uncomfortable. It pushes your brain to its limits. It's draining in a way that clearing out your inbox just isn't.
And that difficulty, that leads to what the source calls the cognitive comfort trap. We actively choose the busy work. Why? Because answering an email gives you that little, dopamine hit.
That rush of accomplishment, inbox zero.
Exactly. You feel productive, but you're choosing comfort over actual creation.
You're retreating to the safety of your inbox because answering 50 easy emails feels like a full day's work, even if it produced zero real value.
And if we look just a few years down the road, that choice becomes really dangerous. This brings us to the automation threat.
This is the scary part.
Here's the truth from the sources. If your job can be done while you're distracted or broken into simple, repeatable steps, you will eventually be replaced.
By software, by AI, by someone cheaper. The one thing that's not easily automated is high-level, creative, complex problem solving.
Which is the exclusive domain of deep work.
Exactly.
So, okay, the choice is clear. Choose discomfort and focus. But I want to get into the science of this, because when I try to focus and I get pulled away, I don't just feel distracted. I feel exhausted.
You feel drained.
Yeah, is there biological reason for that?
There absolutely is. We have to talk about something called attention residue.
Attention residue. I love that. Finally, a name for that feeling. What is it?
Okay, so imagine you're writing a really important proposal. You're deep in it. Then you glance at a text about dinner plans.
Oh.
When you try to snap your focus back to the proposal, it doesn't come back 100%. A piece of your brain is literally still stuck on the dinner plans.
So a little bit of my attention is left behind on the last task.
That's the residue, that lingering bit of attention.
So if I'm constantly multitasking, writing, checking Slack, reading headlines, my brain isn't focused on 5 things. It's just covered in 5 layers of this residue.
Mm.
I'm not fully present on any of them.
Precisely. And the cognitive cost is, well, it's devastating. We're talking a real, measurable drop in your cognitive function.
I remember reading about a study on this in the source material, and the finding was just, it was unbelievable.
The University of London study.
That's the one. What did they find?
They found that constant multitasking, the kind that creates all this attention residue, literally lowers your effective IQ.
Wow.
And the drop was greater than what they saw in people who had smoked marijuana or lost an entire night of sleep.
Okay, let that sink in for a second. That constant cycling through shallow tasks isn't just slowing you down, it's making you measurably less intelligent for the rest of the day.
You're working with a handicapped brain.
One that you handicapped yourself just by being constantly available.
You're spending your day wading through mental mud that you created.
So we have to get out of the mud. We
Wow.
need a strategy. We need to build, as the source material puts it, a deep work bunker.
The bunker is a great concept. And let's be clear, we're not talking about a literal cabin in the woods.
Right. Not for most of us, anyway.
This is a time bunker.
Mm.
You schedule it on your calendar just like you would a high-stakes client meeting, one you absolutely cannot miss. That time block is sacred.
So practically speaking, how long should this block be? And what are the rules, the non-negotiables?
The sources suggest starting with 90 minutes. It aligns really well with our natural concentration cycles.
Circadian rhythms.
Exactly. And during those 90 minutes, the rules are mandatory. Rule 1, you are unreachable.
Rule 2, your phone is in another room, not just face down on the desk, physically gone.
You have to break that visual chain. Rule 3, email, Slack, all of it, closed. Not minimized, closed.
4, if you can, door locked. Or a sign, something physical that says, do not interrupt.
And 5, this is the most important one. You do one single hard thing. You don't bounce around. You pick the one task that will actually move the needle, and you stick with it.
This gets to the leverage you gain from this, which is explained by the work equation.
A simple but really profound formula. Work equals time multiplied by intensity.
So if your intensity, your focus is low because you're distracted, you need a huge amount of time to get anything done. Your 8-hour day might only be 2 hours of actual output.
But if your intensity is at its peak, if you're in your bunker with no residue, no interruptions, the time you need just collapses.
You're getting so much more out of every minute. Give me a real-world example.
Okay, a coder is trying to solve a really complex bug. If they work on it for 6 hours while checking email, they get nowhere because they keep losing the context.
Right.
But if they dedicate one 90-minute high-intensity bunker session to it, they might solve the whole thing. The promise from the source is incredible. 90 minutes of true deep work a day can produce more value than most people do in a full 8-hour low-intensity workday.
That's how you unlock hyperproductivity.
It is.
But okay, here's where the friction comes in. My team, my boss, they're used to me being available instantly. If I just disappear for 90 minutes, I might come back to a firestorm.
That's the social hurdle, and it's why you have to negotiate what we'll call a deep work treaty.
A treaty, I like that. So you don't just vanish.
You can't. You have to communicate the new boundaries. And the key is to frame it not as a personal need, but as an economic necessity for the company.
So I don't say, I need some quiet time.
No. You explain the work equation. You say, I am shifting from performing low-value work instantly to creating high-value work efficiently. From 9.0 to 10.3, I am in the bunker creating that value. Do not disturb me unless the building is on fire.
You're teaching people that your focused attention is your most valuable resource.
Exactly. You're setting a new standard for your contribution, not just setting a boundary.
Okay, but even with the treaty, there's still the internal battle. The first time you do this, you leave your phone in the other room. It feels wrong.
It feels like withdrawal.
Yes, your brain craves that dopamine hit. You suddenly feel incredibly bored.
And that is the moment most people fail. They give in. But you have to fight through it. That friction, that mental strain. It's not a sign you're failing. It's a sign that you are succeeding.
The source material calls that boredom the gateway to mastery.
I love that phrase. If you feel comfortable, you're doing shallow work.
Yeah.
The moment you feel that strain, that's when you're building the rare skill the economy actually rewards.
You're teaching your brain to tolerate depth.
And moving from a reactive mind to a proactive, intentional one.
So let's bring this all home. The takeaway is pretty clear. Focus is the currency of value. Distraction is the biggest barrier to high-level work.
And this requires a fundamental mindset shift. We have to stop celebrating being busy.
Right. Being busy is often just a form of laziness.
Intellectual laziness.
It's easier to answer 100 emails than to sit with one hard problem for 90 minutes. We wear busy like a badge of honor.
We need to start celebrating focus instead. Celebrate the finished product, the breakthrough, not the sheer volume of activity.
So here's your challenge to finish this deep dive. Go build your bunker, look at your calendar right now, and block out that first 90 minutes. Negotiate your treaty. And ask yourself, what is the one task, the single hardest and most valuable thing you will focus on during that first block? Start there.
And maybe ask a bigger question. If deep work is the only real job security, are you ready to fire the parts of your habits and your company's culture that celebrate being busy? That choice will determine your value tomorrow.